Hi, everyone. It was another overall impressive session, I guess you can say, by the NASDAQ and NASDAQ 100. You can see the NASDAQ retook its 200-day moving average today, up 1.35%. Very bullish session. NASDAQ 100, also very bullish session, up 1.43%. However, where was the volume? There's no volume. I want to remind everybody that a follow-through day, which occurs normally on the 4th to 7th day of a new rally attempt, which I officially classified as that starting on 10/15, today was technically day 4, and while we got a percentage move that's good enough, volume, remember, is larger than the session before, and remember, a follow-through day leaves no doubt at all in the experienced professional trader's mind that we have a new uptrend. So whenever I look at this, I look at my MACD and look at my TSV. I don't see any positive divergences. On the NASDAQ, I don't see any positive divergences. Granted, TSV is now trending above its moving average, but overall, I don't see anything that screams, oh my God, we need to get long here. You got to buy this dip right here. If anything, this is a very dangerous V-shaped move that looks like it wants to bring in all the buy the fucking dippers, and then who knows, probably slam the door shut. But I want to show you a couple of chart patterns, just show you what could happen that people aren't realizing. TLLP, after crashing, bounced back violently, and it looked like, okay, great, this thing's going to new highs. And then look what it did today, down 14%. And then there was another one that has that look. Whoops, not that one. CQP, of what could happen also. And that's, you break down, find good support, you get right back to that 50-day moving average, and you have a heavier volume reversal right at the 50-day moving average. That's an ugly chart. That could be what's happening in like some of these, like we look at ERY, ERX, I mean, it's always possible that could happen. But for now, we had a solid day. Volume is lower. The Russell 2000 looks a little bit better. The TSV looks to be in better shape. I still don't have higher intermediate term highs on TSV yet, but the MACD is also turning and trending higher, so that is potentially bullish there. But then looking at the rest of the indexes, the New York Stock Exchange, the S&P 500, and then the Dow Jones Industrial Average, you can see that the MACD and TSVs don't look that good, and so far it looks like a dead cat bounce. But it's still early. We could still be backing and filling. I'll tell you this much. Our model has not changed. We still are under an operational sell signal. If you want to consider the NASDAQ and NASDAQ 100 model to be under a neutral condition, that's fine. Technically, what I need to see it do is see the NASDAQ close above those 1010 highs. If that happens, I can throw the NASDAQ into a neutral zone. For the NASDAQ 100, I also need to see it get above those 1010 highs. Then I will too throw this index into a neutral zone. As it is, sell signals, rule the nest. That being said, though, we don't have any sells, obviously, as everything rallied, but our hedges didn't produce any sell signals on top of that. Had some nice movers. Tube, what a nice move. Earnings are coming up, no good. AKRX, it's kind of a V-ish shape move. I'm gonna need to see a handle before I'm even interested in getting along that one. AAP, I flagged this weekend on StockTwits as Twitter is having one of the best chart setups, most, I guess, tight consolidation, volume contraction pattern out there. It broke out today up 2.78%. That's not what I wanted to see. I guess I could have set buy stops this weekend right above those October highs, but I didn't. I really thought that we would back and fill before having a day like today on Monday, especially historically, seasonally, how terrible this week and next 5 days from October 20th are. So what a good start in throwing that seasonality on its head. Then there was LSTR. I think earnings are next few days, so forget that, but that was a good one. Also, MSTR, they have earnings next week, but that's a nice breakout, one that you might want to consider. I have no interest. ISRG, also a nice move off the 50-day moving average, one you might want to consider here. However, with the market not throwing a fall through day and volume contracting the past 2 up sessions, I'm just not that impressed. The only stock I wanted to go long, I actually wanted to go long a few sessions ago. So ASPX showed up here. I flagged it on the 15th. It's underlined. It's one of the very few stocks underlined. You'll see it bold-faced in the new longs position area. However, BOP fell from the day before and volume wasn't that much higher above the 50-day moving average, so I passed on it. Turned out to be a mistake as it's gone from 24.35 to 26.58. Another nice big high volume move here today. But once again, BOP is falling from the session before, and this move is now pretty V-shaped on the short term. It's not really a move that I like to buy in a tape that's just going straight up, not basing and consolidating properly. However, we did get a couple of signals in two stocks we are already long. GMCR is breaking out of a short stroke consolidation pattern. A little risky for me buying it up here, but you know what? I'll put limit orders around 140, and if it gets filled, great. And if this thing closes below 135.36 or the 50-day moving average, then I'll go ahead and cut that new long short. But GMCR, it's got a very strong pattern in this market, and TSV and MACDs lined up properly, so everything looks good to go here. However, I don't want to add a position bigger than what I currently have, and sadly, because I partially was forced out of this stock back in, I guess back here, 50% of it we were taken out of back here on the 25th in September. That means that I only have about a 2.5% position left of that original position. So what I'm going to do is this one's going to have to be about a 1%, 1.5%. No more, no less. So GMCR is going to be a very small long position around the 140. And then also rent. Once again, already taken partial profits in rent, so I don't want to put on a position bigger than what I have. So once again, rent is going to be between 1 and 2%. You can do two things. This thing is coiling tightly, so I'm going to go ahead and issue buy stops now in case this happens back here. But I want to make it a point. Remember, whenever this thing broke out here, look at how long this flat base is. Very, very, very long flat base, then a big breakout. We don't quite have the same thing here, but I tell you what, it's shown some amazing relative strength while the market sold off. And after hitting a high here intraday of 75.39, it tried to attack it a couple times on the 15th and 16th, couldn't get past it. But the intraday tails in this technical pattern, with BOP staying a strong green throughout this pullback, the past, I guess, 3 sessions, you could say overall, is very indicated that it might want to continue higher. TSV and MACD is very bullish. So I'm going to put buy stops. You can go ahead and put them above the 74.49.99 level if you want. Me, I want to break out to all-time high. So my buy stops are going to be around the 75.40 level. If rent breaks out, great. If rent breaks out and comes back down and does not close above the 75.40 level where my buy stop will be, that will be a sell signal in and of itself, especially if the market's down tomorrow. So it's still best to keep an open mind here. We're operating under a sell condition. We're looking for a follow-through day. The market looks better, but we're not out of the woods yet. And really only the Russell 2000 has the internals that suggest it could continue higher. So cash is still king. Be careful out there, everyone. Aloha.